Hi everybody. Today we're going to discuss how to help your son or daughter prepare for the SAT or the ACT like a Navy SEAL. This is particularly important for you if your child is a rising junior, meaning they're in between their sophomore and junior year. And in my college admissions practice, I am very adamant about students like that, rising juniors, preparing or spending at least 50% of their time over the summer preparing for this very important test. My name is Phil Black. I run an online mentoring and college admissions program called PrepWell Academy, where I help rising freshmen, sophomore, juniors, and seniors make smart decisions about high school, about college, about careers, and about life. So let's talk about SAT or ACT prep. There are a couple factors that you want to consider. Number one, which test are you going to take? The SAT or the ACT? Now, I'm not going to address that in this particular episode. You can go to PrepWellAcademy.com, go to our blog, where I break down the reasons why you might want to take the SAT or you might want to take the ACT. There's a little science and a little art to that as well. So number one, your son or daughter needs to decide. I don't recommend that they do both. I want them to try both to figure out which one maybe they do better in, but I want them to pick one and double down and focus on that particular test. So let's assume that step number one's out of the way. Step number two, how do they plan to study for this test? Maybe they want to do independent study online. Maybe they want to do Khan Academy, world-class free SAT prep. Maybe they want to take a book out of the library. Maybe they want to buy a book from Amazon to prep for one of these tests. Maybe you have the resources to give them a one-on-one tutor. Maybe they would rather be in a classroom environment. Any of those options are okay. They just need to pick one and get after it. Step number three, what's the plan? How often are they going to study? When are they going to study? Are they going to a classroom? Are they having a tutor come over once a week? Are they self-studying Monday, Wednesday, Friday in the morning? How exactly are they going to do this? One method that I'd like to propose that they can to figure this out is to go to PrepWellAcademy.com/P/goals, and there you can get a downloadable goal worksheet that helps you figure out how exactly to tackle this goal. Let's say the goal was, I want to study for the SAT. Well, that sounds great, but there's not a lot of high execution with a lofty goal like that if you don't get down into the weeds and specifically say how, when, how often, what days of the week, how much progress am I going to make. So if you'd like to download that, please do. And PrepWellAcademy.com/P/goals. So assuming step number three, they have a plan, they know when they're going to study, how they're going to study, what days of the week, how many hours, that's great. Now, the last step that very few people think about, and that's where this Navy SEAL thing comes in, is that it is not very common for a teenager to sit down and focus for 4 straight hours on anything, let alone one of the most important standardized tests that they'll ever take in high school. So it stands to reason that they need to train themselves, not only their brain, but their body, to deal with sitting and focusing and staying concentrated for 4 hours. That's not normal for a kid, especially these days with the swipe here and the swipe there, and I have an attention span of a gnat. That's not where we want to be when it's time to take these tests. So my recommendation is to figure out how to train the body and the mind, because not only is the mind start to fatigue, because it's hard to focus for that long, but the body starts to fatigue. Your body's not used to sitting at a desk in a big auditorium in front of a computer for 4 straight hours uninterrupted and expect to excel. So here's my recommendation. Even for the people who have books, who are doing Khan Academy, who maybe have a one-on-one tutor, they may be in a classroom environment. Even so, they need to get after. Do we have a call?
Nope, gotta back it in.
Even so, sorry, we're on a fire engine right now, and we're going to be backing this up, so you're going to hear a beep, beep, beep. I may have to pause here for a second. So hold on a second. You're going to see us backing up. I'm going to give you the backwards look here. All right. Okay, where were we? Oh, we're getting to how to physically train yourself to not be fatigued mentally or physically while you're taking this test. Because a lot of people, they don't do as well as they should do because they only take one of these tests a few times in their lives. Maybe they take the PSAT, maybe they take one practice test. But I want them, and here's what I recommend, I want them to take at least 5 or 6 full, let me put a little light on here, 5 or 6 full-length SAT or ACT tests. And I like to say, let's say they're taking the August 23rd early SAT, which is my strong recommendation. The earlier in junior year you can take that test, the better. So let's say they have their goal of, I want to take that test August 23rd. Well, the previous, let's call them 5 or 6 Sundays leading up to August 23rd, I want them to sit down in a test-taking environment and take a full-length SAT or ACT. No Snapchat, no food, no hanging out with your friends, no doing it while petting your dog, no doing it and interrupting by calls or text messages. No. You're going to isolate yourself and you're going to sit for 4 hours and take the test as it was intended to be taken. I want you to do that every single Sunday morning for the 6 weeks leading up to that August 23rd test. That's the way to do it, because that's going to be adding stressors into your life, because that's what it's going to be like sitting in a huge classroom. So that's number one. Now, if you want to add even more, I have a lot of PrepWellers who add even more stress on their lives. So here's, this is getting really into Navy SEAL style. I want you to, one of those weeks, to not get a lot of sleep the night before. So you're extra tired, you're extra fatigued. I want one of those tests for you not to eat beforehand, so you're hungry. And I want you to take the test while you're not exactly perfectly on time. Another one is, maybe I want you to go to a library or a coffee shop where there's a little bit of activity and there's a little bit of distraction. It's not perfect test-taking conditions. That is going to help you build confidence. So when you go and you take your actual SAT or your actual ACT, if things aren't perfect, guess what? You've got it covered. In the Navy SEALs, we train in cold weather, in freezing weather, in rain, in cold, in snow, at night, with terrible conditions, no sleep. That's the way you train yourself to perform on very high-risk evolutions, and you train your body and your mind to overcome that fatigue, and a lot of it is confidence. If you're going into that test knowing, hey, I've taken this test for 4 hours the last 6 weekends, I've done it without sleep, I've done it without food, I've done it without having a drink, I've done it without breaks. Those are the types of external stressors that are going to give you huge amount of confidence. So when you sit down for that actual day, you are ready to rock and roll. So talk to your son or daughter, see if they have this in mind. What I don't want them to do is to only study in 30 or 40-minute bursts, because that's not what the test is like. Now, obviously, if you have a coach, if you're going to a classroom, they're probably going to recommend that you study for 45 minutes on reading comprehension and 45 minutes on this math module. That's okay, no problem. But I want you to do extra. I want you to do those full-length 4-hour tests every Sunday. Now, I have particular interest in this, having been a Navy SEAL for 6 years. Also went to Yale University and Harvard Business School. I was an entrepreneur, been on Shark Tank, worked for Goldman Sachs, big investment bank in New York for 3 or 4 years. I am now a firefighter. I sold my business after being on Shark Tank, and now I run this business called PrepWell Academy, where I help high school kids make smart decisions, get over prepared for these types of tests, because the college admissions process is getting pretty intense. And if you go to our blog at PrepWellAcademy.com and check out those blogs, you'll see a bunch of stuff, a bunch of content. If you're interested in being kept apprised of what's happening in these types of in this arena, the college admissions, please go to PrepWellAcademy.com and sign up for our newsletter, where I put a lot of this information out. And come back and visit us on Facebook Live. I've committed to doing this every day this month. And if this is something that you think you have somebody, particularly if they have a rising junior this summer, share this with them. Tag them with this video. This will be published. Obviously, this is live now. I see Jennifer Baumgartner is here. Nice to see you, Jen. I haven't seen you in I don't know how long, 30 years or so. It's nice to see you joining. If you have questions, if you have comments, I'd love to see them. especially if you're watching this after the fact. I always look at the comments and I'll try to address those after the fact. If you're looking for resources or not sure how your son or daughter can decide on the SAT or ACT, a lot of information I can direct you to there. And obviously, if you think your son or daughter might benefit from my perspective in this particular arena, love to hear from you. And I'll see you next time. Good luck. Make sure you, if your son or daughter is in that zone, get them rolling, get them to build more confidence by taking these long, extended, full life tests. I am boiling hot right now because it's about 80 degrees and I am in the fire engine with the door closed and I'm sweating, dripping bullets. So I'm going to sign off for now.